Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land.
So come let's work hand in hand, because this is our land. Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique belong to all of us. And we have a duty to ensure that this place improve. This place we call home, that we constantly improve it, make it better, enhance it for our children and children. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. It's the first one after Carnival. It was my intention to return on Monday, but instead I decided to come on from this morning because we have a number of things to talk about. So I want to encourage those on Facebook and on YouTube to please share the live so as many people as possible can get the opportunity to listen in and to know that I'm back on. We had a very successful carnival. Carnival 2025 or Spice Mass 2025 was very, very successful. On the side of law enforcement, it was very, very peaceful. We didn't hear about any major incident or accident or violence or anything of that sort. The police did a fantastic job and they must be commended. Excuse me. They must be applauded for the work that they did over the whole carnival season or the festive season. They did a fantastic job, and Randy Connaught, Commissioner of Police, and all police officers, don't matter what rank, you did a fantastic job. Take a bow. We are proud of you. We appreciate you. And we thank you. We thank you for keeping us safe. And not just the police, but everyone who chipped in, who make sure that they were looking out for their neighbor or neighbors and making sure that the police is informed about anything that may pose a problem. I think you did a fantastic job. The police, take a bow. Spice Mass Corporation, you did a wonderful job. And some people may not understand your role because remember, Spice Mass was launched quite early. And not only here in Grenada, but in the United States and other parts, really promoting and pushing Spice Mass. So yes, you saw different bands and you saw different promoters putting on this show and that show. If it was not for Spice Mass Corporation and the other players or partners, the government of Grenada, for, pumping resources and talent in all of this to market it, to push it, to make people know that it exists. And this is the time they can come and the hotels, the guest houses, and all of them pushing this thing. It's a full package. It's a full package. You may see the end product, right? Where you saw people on the streets or people at different events. But to get folks to come to visit, we had a record number of visitors coming to Grenada for Carnival, enjoying Spice Mass. And it says a lot. So again, I want to commend the Spice Mass Corporation and the entire team, the board of directors, for the work that they continue to do to make Spice Mass what we saw and what it ought to become, bigger and better. So kudos to you. Also, I want to applaud the doctors and nurses and medical staff and so on, the emergency crew and the drivers, the security, and the folks who made this thing possible. Yes, you hear people from time to time condemning them, criticizing them, but the folks who are criticizing them and condemning them, they can't do what they're doing. The nurses and the doctors and the people in the whole medical arena and sector, they have been doing a wonderful job, particularly over the carnival period. So take a bow. You're not perfect and you will never be perfect. People are quick to condemn you and criticize you, but when good things happen, you don't hear them applaud you or talk highly about you. But we appreciate you and we thank you. The cleaners, the sanitation workers, those who make sure that after this event, the next event happens because the place clean. Take a bow. You all did a fantastic job as usual. In Grenada, or sanitation workers, they have been doing a fantastic job, a wonderful job, a magnificent job, a great job after every event. Particularly, Juve. Then you have during the day, Monday, parading of the bands and other things like that. Then you have Monday night mass, and then Tuesday you have parading of the bands and other things like that again. And but they clean the streets, and they have been doing a wonderful job, and we want to applaud them. We want to thank them. Right, folks? I return at this moment on the program because you see, there are too many people who wish Grenada bad, who want to see bad things happen to our country. And it concerns me, and it should concern you. Don't matter where you are as a Grenadian, you should want good for Grenada. But there are people in this country who just want bad things to happen to Grenada. And I listened to a particular program of the opposition, the main program of the opposition party in this country. And I say to myself, these people want to come back and govern Grenada, but it's like they don't care if they get it mashed up. They don't care if it's flat on its face. But once it's bad, once it's something bad, they gloat, they glad, they happy, they joyous about it. Look, at the end of the day, this is our home. This is our country. And Grenada has a very good relationship with countries all around the world. The United States, Canada, Cuba, countries all around the world. And we have to be eternally grateful to Cuba for what they have been doing for us for the last, what, 50 years, 60 years? It might be even before that, 40 years, right? We have to be eternally grateful to them. And when things happen, so for example, the United States, they have announced that they would impose visa restrictions on officials here in Grenada, uh, in Africa, some African countries, uh, South America, Latin America, or Brazil in particular. So a number of countries. They have announced that. And as I say, there is diplomatic route, there is diplomatic channels for these things to be resolved. And it will be resolved, right? There are channels that these things will be resolved in. Grenada has a good relationship with the United States of America. So visa restrictions on certain officials, in fact, we don't even know who are the officials here in Grenada that will be falling under that. We don't even know. They have not announced any Grenadian official, right, in the medical field, because they spoke about government officials, right? So it could be a PS, it could be a minister, it could be a doctor, it could be, you know, those things could happen. But as the United States imposing visa restrictions, right? But I am saying that is not anything for anybody to be happy about, or to jump about, or to gloat about. No, no. There are channels that these things will be resolved in, right? And we could say what we want. At the end of the day, we have had doctors from the United States who served us well. We have had doctors from Cuba who served us well. We have had doctors from Canada who served us well, and other countries around the world. So we have to be grateful for the assistance that we have gotten over the many years, right? And like it or not, we cannot run away from the reality. We would always have shortages when it comes to doctors, when it comes to medical practitioners. So we will rely on assistance from other countries. Only recently we heard the announcement that we will be getting, or they may have arrived. I think they arrived here already. Uh, Nurses, and I think specialist doctors from Nigeria. They're on island already. So we will always seek help from other countries when it comes to health, when it comes to, the whole medical field and sector. But no one should be happy about that. I listen to this guy, and it sickens me to the core, because this is the mouthpiece of the opposition forces in the country.
When asked, the Prime Minister on his program, when he was asked the question of if Mount Sinai, for instance, could operate in Grenada without having the okay of the US government to do so, he said he doesn't know that is a question for Mount Sinai. But I'm pretty sure he go rush to find out right now. Because Mount Sinai, yeah, is a US based company. They ain't based in Britain. They ain't based in Canada. And they're not based in Grenada.
But I don't understand how Mount Sinai Hospital, right, assisted in Grenada, because the government of Grenada has signed an agreement with Mount Sinai, one of the better hospitals in the United States of America. It's world class, and everybody will tell you that, right? And they're doing a fantastic job in assisting Grenada, right? But how Mount Sinai Hospital is connected to visa restrictions on government officials from Africa, the Caribbean, including Grenada, and Latin America, South America also. How is Mount Sinai connected to that? I wonder sometimes, because these are the guys who are speaking for the opposition forces. This guy is on the NNP talking points. That's their main program, right? They've had that program for quite a while and they rebrand it, they change the name. Nothing wrong with that. But this guy is speaking on behalf of these people. And you listen to him. And he's speaking in relation to the announcement by the US government to impose visa restrictions on some government officials here in Grenada and in Africa. So it's, let me just tell you, Africa, Brazil, Cuba, and Grenada, right? So they've announced that they will do that. They have not listed anyone in Grenada that they would impose that visa restriction on. They have not done so. They have done so for Brazil, right? But not for Grenada. So this guy is speaking about it, this Sheldon Scott guy. And this is what he had to say. I mean, I wonder.
When asked, the Prime Minister on his program, when he was asked the question of if Mount Sinai, for instance, could operate in Grenada without having the okay of the US government to do so, he said he doesn't know that is a question for Mount Sinai, but I'm pretty sure he go rush to find out right now, because Mount Sinai, yeah, is a US based company. They ain't based in Britain, they ain't based in Canada, and they're not based in Grenada. They're based in the United States, and as such, they can face sanctions. Our Prime Minister, our government.
What is wrong with this guy, really, boy? Can you tell me? And these are the people who are speaking for the opposition in this country. I wonder, face sanctions? What is this? The United States announced visa restrictions, What is wrong with this guy? And it has nothing to do with Mount Sinai Hospital assisting Grenada or having an agreement with Grenada. There are a lot of American companies that are operating right here in Grenada, functioning here, functioning in Grenada, and doing work here in Grenada. But look at where this guy's heading with all of this. This is dangerous. It's sad because these people, they're the ones who are speaking for the opposition forces in the country. And I wonder for a moment, it sickens me to the core. And that is why I started the program by saying there are a lot of people in this country who don't want Grenada to prosper, who don't want Grenada to be transformed, who don't want Grenada to improve. You could imagine this guy is roping, tying Mount Sinai Hospital, doing work here to improve the healthcare system here in all of this. But where did the United States government speak about sanctions? What is this? And there are people who listen to this idiot, and it scares me because the NNP wants to come back in power. But these are the people who are speaking for them.
Government decided that they are going to hire Mount Sinai to run the Grenadian healthcare system, various aspects of the Grenadian healthcare system. They signed a contract to pay these people millions of dollars a year. And they did not understand, because maybe if they had asked the question, even Jukutu me could have tell them that, hey, the US has sanctions and you have significant numbers of Cubans in your healthcare system. When you check the listing,
This this guy really knows what he's talking about. And this guy's on a program, a NNP program, right? Remember, it was Hard Talk. They rebranded to Talking Points. This guy's on an NNP program as the main mouthpiece. But you listen to this guy and you wonder, right? And NNP not going to come out and say anything against this guy. No, they would not say to this lunatic, this political lunatic, in my belief, stop. You're going too far. You're going too far. The United States of America has not even announced or named anybody who will have visa restrictions imposed on them. They have not even named anyone from Grenada. But this guy's already hopping on it. And look, folks, there are diplomatic channels that this thing could be resolved. Government to government. Grenada has a good relationship with the United States of America. Come on. What is this guy really saying? And you listen and you wonder. You have to wonder for a moment, if these guys really love this place. Come on. All the United States of America did because of Cuba's medical mission, right? Cuba has a medical mission, a program where you have doctors and the nurses and so on going into countries and assist countries with the healthcare system. All right? That has happened for decades. The United States of America, they have a kind of policy when it comes to Cuba. And that's their choice. Nothing wrong with that. That's their choice. So they announce visa that they would revoke visas or put restrictions on travel or visa for certain people who are close to the program, who are connected in some way or the other to the program, right? Doctors and the nurses and so on who come to help with the healthcare system. So this guy jumped on that program and had these things to say. But I want to know, but how Mount Sinai is connected to all of this? How? What Mount Sinai has to do with this? So Mount Sinai Hospital is who the government of Grenada is working with for the new hospital. Because you know that only recently we received $250 million as co-financing from the Afro Exim Bank, right? So it's co-financing. Money that will be pumped into the new medical city, the new hospital, and all the other things that would come with it. That's $668 or so million. That's a lot of money that will be pumped into this project. The NNP is uneasy with that. Mount Sinai is helping Grenada to improve the healthcare system, right? And I may have featured a piece or two of what they are doing here in Grenada to improve the system. And for people who know Mount Sinai, they would tell you that that hospital is world class and that they have assisted in so many ways around the world to improve the healthcare system of a number of countries, right? I remember I featured a piece or two. Let me see here. Looking at that. Let me see here. I remember I featured a piece or two about it. But my thing is, it's a good thing that Mount Sinai is assisting Grenada. This is a good thing, right? So Mount Sinai, remember I featured this piece with Dr. Abigail Noel.
My name is Dr. Abigail Noel, and I am the head of department at the Accident and Emergency Department, also known as Casualty. As head of department, I am responsible for coordination, and I'm also responsible for training of staff. Training of staff is to enhance our staff, not just in the medical, but also in personal well-being. We have been working along with Mount Sinai since November, and in that time, we have had such a great experience with the Mount Sinai team. One thing I love about Mount Sinai is their spirit of collaboration. They came in with ideas that we were able to discuss, and we were able to implement them. There are so many processes that they have implemented here, especially in the emergency department, that have transformed our department in real time. One of the things that I would mention is the implementation of ID bands for every patient that comes through the emergency department. So once you get in here, once you're triaged by the triage nurse at the front, you receive an identification band. And as we can imagine, that has decreased patient errors, have decreased errors in identification of patients. Because here in the emergency department, not everyone comes in able to talk or able to give information. So having an identification band on each patient has really helped us improve patient care and decrease errors. Another process that they have implemented is defibrillators on every ward, including the emergency department. Defibrillators basically are those machines that you would see on TV where they shock people. We have those on every ward. We have also started training staff in how to adequately utilize these machines. Thus far, 128 staff members have been trained in defibrillator use, and this includes Grenada and Carrico. Mount Sinai has implemented a huddle system. It is a system that I have had experience in because I had experience working with Mount Sinai in Guyana. The huddle system is basically a small meeting, like a 15-minute meeting with all team members. And when I say all team members, I mean security guards, receptionists, maids, nurses, doctors, everyone who is on duty in the department at the time, drivers, very important. They come in for a mini 15-minute check-in where we discuss any issues to patient flow from the prior shift, and also not just issues, but also compliments, great things that happened on the shift. One of the advantages of huddle that I have seen in our department is that it improves communication between staff members as well as with patients. And also staff members have a sense of confidence. They feel seen, they feel heard, and they understand that their role is important. This transformation means everything to the emergency department and by extension, the health system. They are giving us the tools and the knowledge so that we can accelerate, that we can fix our problems, and then the systemic issues, they would be resolved over time. But we are resolving our issues internally, and I've seen a great improvement, especially in the emergency department, and I expect that we are going to improve even more, and I'm very excited about that.
Right, so that's the relationship with Mount Sinai. It is bearing fruits. It's not 100% there as yet, but at least they're seeing improvements. They're seeing, tangible changes happening, and we have to be proud of that. I think I had another nurse.
My name is Liselle Walcott. I'm a staff nurse and presently been a staff nurse at the General Hospital for the past 16 years. At the Infection Control Department, what we do surveillance for communicable diseases. We do surveillance for hospital-acquired infections. We do outbreak investigations related to our hospital-acquired infections. So any issues we have, we would investigate it, find out the cause, and we would do our interventions, recommendations and interventions to all relevant departments. Thus far, with Mount Sinai, we have looked at hand hygiene. We are looking at ways of improving hand hygiene, especially when it comes to compliance among all staff. Hand hygiene has been proven to be one of the most important practice you could do to break the chain of infection, thus reducing infections transmitting from one patient to another or from staff to patients. Working along with Mount Sinai, I foresee that it will be a very good thing for us, especially working with our hand hygiene campaign that is going on now. They are looking into the products that we use, the practices that we do to find out any loopholes, any gaps that exist, we're gonna address it. And going forward, we'll be able to achieve a very high level of compliance amongst our staff. So high compliance is relatable to good care being delivered and safety across the board for everyone. I love being a nurse because it is challenging. I like helping people, but from an infection control standpoint, I am fascinated by bacteria, unfortunately. There are so many avenues, there are so many things. And in my opinion, I always say, being a nurse reminds you of God. Life is very tangible. You are reminded of that aspect, and then you are also reminded of the fact that you are making a difference. The simple things you do make a big difference in the outcome of a patient care for the relatives and everyone involved. So it is very rewarding, but it keeps you grounded because it's like God is still God. I'm looking forward to the new things they would bring on board for us. They have a lot to offer. And from my department, I'm eager to learn everything that they have to give and to teach and to share. The methods have been proven, so we could only go up from here.
Yes, we could only go up from here. So that's the relationship with the Mount Sinai Hospital, right? And that is why I'm asking myself how this guy, this Sheldon Scott guy, who is on an opposition platform or program, right? Talking Points. That program is the main flagship program for the opposition. So this guy is on that program and saying what he said because he may have heard about the announcement by the United States government that they will be imposing visa restrictions on government officials, right? Who are connected to the Cuban medical program, where you have doctors and nurses from Cuba going to different countries and so on and helping countries and so on. So they announced that they would be imposing visa restrictions on people who are connected to that program. In Grenada, Africa, so some African countries, South America, Latin American countries, right? So they will be doing that. They have not announced any name of anybody in Grenada who is on that list or who will face visa restrictions. They have not done that. They did it for Brazil, but not for Grenada. But this guy, so bad-minded in my belief, and he is speaking for the whole opposition forces in my belief. They are negative, they're bad-minded, they just want bad things to befall Grenada. The guy quick to jump on this thing, But I want to know how he tie Mount Sinai in all of this. Where Mount Sinai come out in all of this? That is what I am baffled with.
When asked, the Prime Minister on his program, when he was asked the question of if Mount Sinai, for instance, could operate in Grenada without having the okay of the US government to do so, he said he doesn't know that is a question for Mount Sinai, but I'm pretty sure he go rush to find out right now, because Mount Sinai, yeah, is a US based company. They ain't based in Britain, in Canada, and they're not based in Grenada. They're based in the United States, and as such, they can face sanctions. Our Prime Minister, our government decide.
But what sanctions? Sanctions, so what? What? How we reach there though? What is wrong with this guy? Sanctions, so what? How the guy reached there? Huh? I don't understand how Mount Sinai get involved in what is this?
Decided that they are going to hire Mount Sinai to run the Grenadian healthcare system, various aspects of the Grenadian healthcare system. They signed a contract to pay these people millions of dollars a year. And they did not understand, because maybe if they had asked the question, even Jukutu me could have told them that, hey, the US has sanctions and you have significant numbers of Cubans in your healthcare system.
But what sanctions? Where's the sanction come? Where is I'm baffled. I'm confused. But this guy is on a platform pushing the narrative and pushing certain things for the NNP and the opposition. They won't call this guy and tell him stop talking this rubbish and stop pushing this stupidity. They would not do that. But he's on a platform speaking aloud.
When you check the listing of the doctors that are operating in Grenada, the licensed doctors operating in Grenada, a significant portion of them are of Cuban origin. And we're not speaking about those that were just trained in Cuba. We're speaking about the fact that the majority of these individuals, that they are actually Cuban. Yeah, they are actually Cuban.
How come just now?
So we found ourselves with the situation now that the government officials, they are going to have restrictions placed on them. Some of them may lose their visas. And again, it's not just the government officials. It's their wife or husband. It's their children. It might even extend to their parents. Yeah? Their brother.
You know, folks, and that is why I called on the government to make sure that this guy is held accountable with cell phone gates, Yeah. That is why I called on the government. You see, you cannot just allow these people to do things and get away with it. If you understand what these people are doing, this guy and the others, you really believe that they are genuine about this place? And that's the question, You believe that this guy is genuine about Grenada, about this country of ours? I mean, it's sickening. It's that bad. So I think the matter with cell phone gates is going before. I don't know if it's already there, but the last announcement we heard was that the matter would be heading to court, right? Because I think the issue that he had is one of figure how much and the interest that the government is demanding that he pays on what he owes, right? But boy, I am sorry for my country. And the reason why is because these same people, they want to come back in power. Remember, this guy was a parliamentary secretary under the new National Party government, right? It's like between a minister and a PS, I think. Like the parliamentary secretary is like the person could be like a junior minister. They could be in that kind of role. A parliamentary secretary responsible for youth and this and that and that. So they a very senior role. And you listen to this guy and you wonder, come on, this country belongs to all of us. We have a duty, a responsibility to protect it, to talk highly about it, to want good for it, and to work to make sure that good things happen for our people. But why these people are so negative and so bad-minded in my belief? But they give you the impression that they like this country. They give you the impression that they so patriotic and they so... Come on. All the United States government announced is visa restrictions on some government officials from Africa, Cuba, Latin America, well, the Caribbean, Grenada. But nobody in Grenada was enlisted or named, right? And it's really to do with the Cuban doctors and nurses and so on who would come and assist countries and so on. The government of the United States is saying, well, look, it's not that, it's is it forced labor? I think they're accusing. I think so. It's something to do with. Let me get it. So, right? Call it. Yeah, so it's like forced labor. So they're saying it's like it's like a labor exploitation program, that kind of thing. So they're accusing countries of that they're using the Cuban labor thing, like the doctors and the nurses and so on, and like the money, they're saying like the money not going to these people, but instead to the government of Cuba. That kind of accusation they're making, right? But I am saying Grenada, right? Grenada this is our home. This is our home. And we have a responsibility to defend it, to preserve it, to work towards enhancing it. This is our place, man. So when these people are on a platform, you sometimes wonder, you know, what really this guy is trying to achieve. I don't know. And folks, you are free to call in if you want to chime in, if you want to speak, The number to call is 5380933. 5380933. So that's the number you can call in on. If you want to have your say, if you want to chime in, you can. All right? 5380933. All right? So it's really an opportunity for you to call in and chit chat. If you want to, you can. All right? But I am concerned that these people, they're on platforms and they're not genuine about Grenada. And I have said so from day one. They want bad things to befall the country. The opposition forces in Grenada, all they are praying for, hoping for, and maybe working towards is bad things happening. They want bad news. They want bad things to happen to Grenada. Because they believe if bad things happen to Grenada, they will benefit. They will become the real beneficiary of that. You find that making sense? It doesn't. So you really want Grenada to be in a bad position, a bad place for you to come back and govern it? Come on, man. Come on. Our people are smart. Our people are more intelligent. than you think. All people are following keenly what's happening around the world. They understand what is at play. But these people who want to come back and run this place and govern this place, they bad-minded. They just want bad things to happen to our homeland. And I've said so on umpteen occasions. I've told you that they're negative, negative, negative towards everything. Every living thing. Once the government does something good, they're still negative about it. A school being built, they're negative about it. A piece of road being constructed, they're negative about it. Right? Students getting assistance to go to TAM-CC and NULO, they're negative about that. Students receiving a hot meal, right, to put in their stomach, they're negative about that. The government building bathrooms and toilets and so on for people, they're negative about that. People getting some material assistance, they're negative about that. Minimum wage, they were negative about that. Police getting more money on their salary, the opposition forces, they're negative about that. Every living thing that this government did, and good for our people, great for our people. The opposition forces, they are against it. They're negative about it. And once you follow that pattern, you realize that they're not patriotic. They don't love this place. They don't want good for this place. They don't. They pretend that they do. The opposition forces in the country, they're not. There are certain things that you could just forget the politics on. You see that one again? Regarding Cuba, regarding the doctors and the nurses that came here, assisted us over many years. And the United States government announced visa restrictions for people associated with the program and so on, with the doctors and the nurses and so on. That should not be NNP or NDC. That's country. And there are diplomatic routes and channels for this thing to be resolved. Right? Come on. It's just terrible. And there are people who are happy about that. You listen to this guy and you wonder, but come on, how Mount Sinai Hospital get caught up in this? How? But I can tell you, the opposition forces, they hate the fact that the government of Grenada intelligently, strategically engaged Mount Sinai Hospital, one of the better hospitals in the world, to partner with us to improve our healthcare system. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, whole thing.
I'm good, you good?
Yes, I'm all right, man. I just want to find out, based on the conversation, I realize that is the salary, the low salary the Cubans getting, receiving in Grenada that cause America mad. America really love Cuba, and they like Cuba to work for more salary. I wonder if the Minister of Finance here sit with the Minister of Finance in America and agree that to raise the Cuban salary, what decision they will take concerning the visa, because to me, America wants Cuban doctor in Grenada to get higher salary. So I just want to ask this question. Have a good morning, my
Okay,
brother.
nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear caller. Thank you very much. Yeah, there is diplomatic routes, and no official in Grenada was named where they would get or their visa will be revoked or restrictions will be placed on them. right? No official here in Grenada was named in that. Grenada was named because, we have had good relationship with Cuba. We have had doctors and nurses from Cuba for many years working within our healthcare system. That's something that you can't run away from. We have had a long history with Cuba. So I'm simply saying, nobody here, no official, no PS, no doctor, no nurse, no nobody here have been named, or no minister or nothing like that as having restrictions and so on their visa. But come on, man. There are certain things that don't require the politics and the petty politics and so on. This is Grenada. But I'm saying these guys, they want to come back and run the country. But they just want a bad thing, some bad news, some terrible news to come out on Grenada. They want to jump in the streets. Just bad things they want to happen to us here in this place. And it says a lot. And I hope our people are learning as we go. The opposition forces is dangerous to this country. They are not good for this place. They never loved Grenada. You check it out. Check it out carefully. Look at the past administration. Look at what they have done over 23 years and a half. Look at the roads. They still narrow and remain the same. The school system, the health system, the everything remain the same. They've never injected anything seriously in any of those sectors that is life-changing and transformative and long-term. No. Nope. But I am saying, I hope we are learning in the process and that we have seen through them. So when that time comes to vote, we're going to do the right thing. That is what is important. And speak to the young, speak to your neighbors, speak to your friends. Let them know that these opposition forces, they don't like this country. They don't want good for this country. All they want is power. And they could care less about Grenada and the development of this place. All they want is power. That's all. But folks, I thought I should come back on. I was supposed to be on from Monday, back on Monday, but I decided to come on today. Starting today, I'll be back on tonight again in the hub, and tomorrow, Friday morning, during the dynamic hour. So I'm on 2 days earlier, but it's important that I come on to reassure the Grenadian people that this issue of visa restrictions, it's not for everybody, and no Grenadian official has been named as yet in all of this. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Kim. Listen, I want to say that Sheldon is still on the NNP vote farm, so he can't help himself. He needs to know that the hospital and what is happening with the sanctions that the American government decided to impose on certain countries is like chalk and cheese. Tell him go get himself educated before he talks, get off the vote farm, and stop allowing the opposition leader to live in his head rent-free. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There, yeah, and it's, for me, I'm saying it's Grenada. This is our home. I want good for Grenada. Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I love this place. This is my home. I want good for my children and my children's children. I want good for your children. I want good for your family. This is our place. But remember, these people, they want to come back and run this country. Come on. Come on, man. If improvement is taking place in the hospital or clinics and so on, that's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. Mount Sinai is one of the better hospitals in the United States of America. They're working with the government and people of Grenada to improve the system, to get the new hospitals facility going. Only recently, you heard the announcement from the Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, where Professor Benedict Urama, the president of the Afro-Exim Bank, announcing that they will be co-financing the medical city or new hospital facility and so on in the amount of 668 million EC, 250 million US. You also heard the announcement of the Dangate and Urama Center for Excellence to be constructed right here, Africa's richest man, building a center for excellence here in Grenada to help our young people, in many different areas, AI and other things like that. Come on, man. We should be happy about that. But the opposition, they have become so negative and so bad-minded that everything they jump in on it and they jump in and it's just sad. It's sickening. It is terrible. Terrible. So folks, just saying to you, it's not visa restriction on Grenadians as a whole, right? And the United States of America, they have not announced any name here in Grenada that they will be putting visa restriction on in relation to the Cuban program, where you have doctors and nurses come to Grenada, and serve the people of Grenada in many different ways, right? So that is the program that they are concerned about, the United States government. And I would believe there are channels, diplomatic channels, where Ministry of Foreign Affairs, government of Grenada, they will communicate with the government of the United States and see how that can be resolved. All right? So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. I will be back with you tonight in the hub again to continue conversing, dialoguing. We have a lot to talk about. I'm happy that we had a safe carnival. Thumbs up to the RGPF, the Royal Grenada Police Force, Randy Connaught, the Commissioner of Police, and all police officers. Thumbs up to the nurses, the doctors who worked tirelessly over that period. Thumbs up to the sanitation workers who cleaned the streets and drains and so on to make sure that it was safe. And thumbs up to all who visited and have a wonderful time. Many of the folks who came, they already heading out back to where they came from. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for returning home. A lot of you took the time to register so you can participate in our elections, right? Thanks for doing so. And it was a really nice carnival. Safe, fun. It was really good. All right? Thumbs up to Spice Mass Corporation. You did a fantastic job. All right? So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. All the best. Have a wonderful day. I'll be back with you tonight again on that journey. Bye for now.